Well, hello there. Welcome to another Spitfire session, a brand new year of the Spitfire sessions. It's Steve Watts here, still in his padded cell, itching to get out. We've got a real cracking Spitfire session for you tonight. And continues to as Shepherd Neem looking after us for a brand new year of these sessions. It is the first of 2021, so can I belatedly wish you a very happy new year. Hope it's going all right for you so far. Out with the old and in with the old, I think, so far for 2021. Tonight, we have some of the biggest names to have ever represented and still represent Kent's women. All now, of course, capped players, providing you with some entertainment over the next 45 minutes, an hour or so. I already wish you a happy new year, so let's move on to introducing this panel, who, of course, known the Kent women as the Horses, not the Horses, the Horses to the loyal fan base. Last year, there was that announcement that 51 Kent's women players would be receiving their county caps, a list that stretches from Carol Valentine in the 1930s right up to the present day, and Fran Wilson. So let's introduce the first of tonight's panelists. Lydia Greenway, back with us on another Spitfire session. 16 years Lydia's playing career with Kent's women's team, 10 trophies, then onto a coaching role, multiple trophy winner Lydia with both England and Kent, of course, 5 times an Ashes winner. And since retiring, as you know, Lydia's done some coaching and is very much looking forward to being a commentator, a star commentator, Lids, for the 100, which we know in 2021, crowd or no crowd, is definitely happening.
Yeah, really exciting. I think, just the fact that English cricket is hopefully going to be up and running again this summer is very exciting for everyone involved, and pleased to be here this evening as well.
Great to have you with us once again. Let's introduce panelist number 2. There is Alice Davidson-Richards, who played for Kent women for more than a decade. Still does, despite being only 26. Are you still only 26? A little baby. Championship and T20 titles, over 1,500 runs, more than 100 wickets and 119 appearances. Yorkshire Diamonds in the Kia Super League. I miss the old Kia Super League. And of course, was part of the South East Stars. Quite a few Kent's women in the South East Stars during the first ever Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy in 2020. Hello, good evening, Alice Davidson-Richards.
Hi, good evening. I think that's the only time recently that I've been told that I've been young, considering that I think the average age of the Stars is now something like 21 or 22. So I've now shifted from the youngies to the oldies.
And if you're my age, 26 is a baby. It's delighted to have you with us here on this Spitfire session this evening. Next up, Deanna Cooper, 60 appearances for Kent women between 2008 and 2016. And I'm sure most of you know that Deanna was juggling a career as a county cricketer with a burgeoning career in women's football. An average of over 22 at the bat, 26 with the ball, just a bit less than actually. And Deanna called time on a career with Kent after the 2016 season to focus on football. Signed up with Chelsea, won the Women's Super League and the FA Women's League Cup, and is now with Reading. Good evening to you. You were in action yesterday, I believe.
We had Aston Villa yesterday. It was a bit of an interesting one with the weather, but came away with the draw, so it's going well this season.
Did you play in the snow yesterday?
Yeah, it was like a blizzard. We couldn't really see much.
Well, do you know what? This is going to be very tough for me to sit here and chat with and be polite to someone who's won things with Chelsea, but I'm going to stay professional. I'm going to stay polite, okay? It's lovely to have you with us. And last up is Kate Brown, who enjoyed a remarkable Kent swimming career from 1966 until 1998. Phenomenal stats, 32 years. Test appearances, ODI appearances for England as well, 88 matches for Kent. And also, as we said, featured for England as well. Kent's and England's young women with twin sister Caroline represented young England in the Women's Cricket World Cup inaugural event in 1973. Delighted to have you with us. Good evening, Kate Brown. Hello.
Good evening. Lovely to be here. Hello, everyone.
That's quite some stat, that. 32 years.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple more I can squeeze in there. I'm sure there's a few more, yeah. But Yes, I had a couple of years out to go to Australia and play cricket there. But yeah, it was a fantastic, wonderful honour to play for Kent for that long. It was great fun.
I wonder if that record will be eclipsed by Darren Stevens. It could be. It could be. Thank you very much for all your advanced questions. We're going to crack on straight to the first of them, which came from Freddie. And it says to Lydia and to Kate specifically, this one, having both played Test cricket for England, do you think it's a shame that women play very little first-class cricket and indeed Test cricket? Would you like to see more played? Lydia, I'm guessing I know your answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, I love playing the longer format of the game, and I think as a player, it's, you know, it really tests your skills, so it keeps you honest. But I think if you look at where the game's going though in the current day, I can understand why there's not as much of it played, because I think, you know, from a media point of view, I think people enjoy watching the shorter format of the game, which, you know, for the cricket purists is a real shame. But I think in terms of trying to generate interest, get young people involved in the game, then I can see why it is going down that route. I don't know what you think, Kate. You would have probably got a good opinion on it as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting as well, because I think I'm right in saying that county cricket is now also considered first class cricket, which I don't think it was a long time ago. But in terms of test matches, a long time ago, I mean, people had to give up their jobs to go and play, especially if they were playing overseas. It took them weeks to get there on a boat, and then 3 months, you know, to play the game. So it was difficult to have very many. I mean, Test cricket is still a fantastic form of the game. It tests everybody's skills. But like Lydia, I can see exactly what you're saying about the shorter forms of the game bringing people in. And I think that's hugely important. But yeah, you've always got to watch a bit of Test cricket somewhere along the line.
Back in the day, Kate, where were you playing those Test matches? What grounds were being used?
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't always have first class ones, but we did go to Edgbaston and the Oval and various, you know, places. I mean, I only played in one Test match, so, you know, I can tell you where I played. But we did have opportunity to play at different grounds. But yeah, it wasn't always the first class ones. I mean, things have changed hugely, and to the benefit of the game, definitely. Yeah. And
you must have noticed from when you started playing to the game where it is now, the most enormous changes must be almost unrecognisable.
Well, indeed. I mean, this all came about because the WCA, as it was then when I played, then joined the ECB. And in joining the ECB, suddenly there was people with power and influence and money. And it has made a huge difference. You know, it's out of sight, really. It was when I played, which is absolutely fantastic. It's been absolutely brilliant. You know, I think all these young women playing today are having a fantastic opportunity to go on and do wonderful things, include being professional. Yeah, I mean, nobody paid for me to play in those days. I mean, I couldn't buy anyone to play me. They paid me to stop, but they didn't pay me to play.
They would now, Kate. You'd be earning a fortune, an absolute fortune. Alice, at the stage you're at in your career, would you still harbour ambitions to play perhaps even Test cricket for England?
I think I've probably got similar views to Lydia and Kate there, in the fact that we played a couple of warm-up games against Australia and did 3-day games, and every single one of the girls absolutely loved it, and it really does like test you. So I definitely have that sort of desire. It's not like my main goal and focus in life to play in England at the moment. I just want to play as well as I can and kind of bring yourself back into contention that way, because I think you can kind of like get further away from getting to that goal if you make that your sole focus. So yeah, I think in the background of my head it would be absolutely incredible to put on the whites for England, but also just trying to enjoy myself at the same time.
And Lydia, the answer that you gave was absolutely correct, of course. If we want mass appeal for the game, then it's probably the shorter formats, isn't it? But do you see at any point, perhaps in the medium or longer term, this changing at all and more first class and test cricket may be played in the women's game?
If I'm honest, I don't know how feasible it is from a domestic point of view. If you look around the world at the various countries and how they're set up, you've got Australia, who have got the Big Bash, the Women's Big Bash, which is amazing out there. They've also got their 50 over competition. We're starting to have a similar sort of setup, but I think if you look at other countries, because their national teams aren't even professional yet, it's so hard for them to then be able to play test cricket if they're not doing it at domestic level. So I think until that happens, I don't think it's the right decision, if I'm honest. I think women's cricket has got a great opportunity to sort of, you know, really showcase its skills in 50 over cricket, T20, and obviously the 100 as well. That's my opinion.
Well, I think I tend to agree with you. Thank you very much for your answers to Freddie's question. The next one comes in for Grace, and this is directed at you, Deanna Cooper, who says, which sport have you enjoyed winning trophies in more?
Oh, wow. I think I was obviously quite young when I was playing for Kent, when I started playing for Kent, and I was playing with all these incredible players. Our Kent squad, when I first joined, as a young 13, 14-year-old, was full of international stars. So winning the county championships with them was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. It was an experience in itself, whether I managed to play or only played a couple of games in a season. It was incredible to play with some of those superstars. So that was amazing, and it meant a lot because cricket at the time was something that I focused on a lot, and football was kind of a hobby back then. So the cricket trophies were quite meaningful, and they meant a lot to me. Obviously, the football ones came later, and again was something that I moved on to after playing cricket. So they mean a lot. I mean, winning the FA Cup at Wembley was pretty special, but I didn't get to play because I was injured. So yeah, the cricket ones do mean a lot, and I actually have the trophies in my bedroom. So. Yeah. Did
you have choices to make when you were younger between cricket and football, and then I guess perhaps later on as well?
Yeah, so pretty much my whole childhood was like this big toss-up between which one I was going to kind of take up, and I actually ended up focusing a lot on my cricket, and football just became a hobby around the ages of 17, 18 when I got selected for the Kent Academy. Actually, that kind of pushed me down the cricket route. And then after a while, it kind of fizzled out a bit. So then I ended up taking up football. It wasn't a bad decision at the end. So, it's worked out pretty well for me.
I should say so, yeah. I mean, I'm just wondering if you had to make that choice, let's say 10, 12 years ago, however long ago it was, that actually I'm going to focus on the cricket. Football's just something I enjoy doing. I wonder how many people now at a young age would make that choice of going cricket over football. Boys in particular, I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I think my cricket was quite a big thing in my family. Like my dad loved me playing cricket. He used to come to every game. He used to take me to every training session, bless him. And it used to be quite a family event. And so it was kind of like it was quite an easy decision. Cricket, like I was doing really well at a really young age. And so I think that kind of pushed me down that road a little bit more. And even though cricket back then it wasn't professional, I don't think at all. Whereas with football, it was kind of coming into the game. So it was kind of a bit of an odd decision thinking back at it. But I just loved cricket. I loved playing it, and I do really miss it now. Obviously, I'm not allowed to play it at the moment because of contracts and stuff like that with football. But hopefully one day, when maybe my football career is over, I can go back to playing cricket.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you that, whether you thought that once the professional football career is over, you could perhaps come back to a spot of cricket. Yeah,
the good thing about cricket is you can play at any age, and it doesn't really matter. Like you can go and enjoy a game of cricket. So, yeah, I'd look forward to going back to playing when I finish my football career.
And how long have you been at Reading for? Was it last summer you made the move?
Yeah, this is my first season at Reading, so I signed for them in July, which was a bit odd with the whole COVID situation, but it's been a really good move for me. I'm getting a lot of game time, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm happy.
And talking of the COVID situation, Alice, you just joining us fresh from a spot of training. What are you able to get up to at the moment in these strange times?
So currently training at Beckenham and the Oval. So at Beckenham it's quite like a large space, but you've got one person bowling, one person batting, one coach with each, and we've basically got like an individual rotation. So you don't pass anyone, you can't speak to anyone, and you just like have, I think we've got a 45-minute block to have a training session, and the rest of the hours where the hall's left to like air out and stuff. And then so today I've come in, had a bowl, had a bat, done a few run twos, and managed to get a bit of a gym session in. And then yeah, you have to sanitize everything down. I mean, all the coaches are sanitizing all the stumps, all the balls and everything like that. So it's good to get out. It's just very individual at the moment, and being quite a sociable person, I just want to speak to everyone, but I'm taking what I can.
That's why we invited you on here, so you can have a chat.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You have to keep putting the face mask on and off. You don't have to. Please tell me you don't have to wear one of those while you're in the net.
I don't personally, but all the coaches do. So if one of the coaches is throwing whilst you're batting, has the helmet on, has the mask on, you can just see him getting hotter and hotter, and like beads coming down. Yeah, but we don't. We have to just wear it when we're walking around.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for that, and Deanna, for your answer as well. And on that sort of theme of winning trophies in different sports, we had a question in from Hamish, who says that he read that, Kate, you also represented Kent in fencing. Obviously, we know about Deanna's football career. Is that correct? But you're a champion fencer?
Well, yes. I don't know about champion. Well, I did do Kent Juniors and the South East. So yeah, I enjoyed that at school, but cricket was always my first love. So once I went to college, then I dropped the fencing and carried on with the cricket. But yeah, I did it as a schoolgirl. Yeah.
That must have been a posh school. Got to be fencing.
Well, yeah, obviously, you know, it was very, very.
Has to be.
The inmates thought so. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking actually, because you know the sports you play when you're a kid, either with your mates or either at school, and think, how the hell do you find that? Yeah, do you know, I think I might be quite good at fencing. Did you literally? Was it something that you did at school?
No, we had one of the school mistresses was very, very keen on fencing and started a fencing club. So off we went, and then got thrown into the various competitions. So that's how it goes. But yes, a bit of touche has always come in handy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking actually about a school mistress armed with a sword. It's not sounding great, is it? Well,
there you go.
That's an interesting point about being obviously a good level at more than one sport. Hamish's question goes on to ask, particularly of Lydia and Alice. We'll start with you, Lydia, about other sports that you enjoy. Anything that you're particularly good at or were good at, Lids?
Yeah, I used to love all sports at school. Yeah, particularly netball and hockey, a bit of football as well. Yeah, basketball. But I think it's something that, you know, we get asked a lot when we're coaching young children from parents is, when should they make the decision in, you know, really focusing on one sport? And we always say, you know, play as many different sports as you can for as long as possible. Like I played with Coops with Deanna, and she was an outstanding fielder, and I think that came a lot, probably, I don't know if you could say, Coops, but from your football training, and just the footwork, her speed across the ground was brilliant. And I think yeah, it will always stand you in good stead. But yeah, I still play a bit of hockey now, which is good fun, more for the social than anything else. But yeah, it's always good fun.
What about you, Alice? Any other sports for you?
I was probably similar to Lydia. I played, I think, every sport under the sun. Hockey, wasn't that good at football, but probably attempted it at some point. Probably attempted rugby at some point. Netball, did a lot of hockey and netball at school. Squash, tennis, literally everything and anything that I could possibly do to keep myself entertained as someone that's quite a restless human. But yeah, I think I've got exactly the same point of view. If you like, a part of me gets a little bit sad if you see someone just zoning in one sport from such a young age. I know you've got like Serena Williams and the Tiger Woods of the world. But I think it's just so important to play as many sports as you can, mainly just as Lydia said in the last bit, like social wise, the amount of friends that I've still got from my uni hockey team, and can't see them at the moment, but when I can, I think it's the friendships and the skills that you bring, of what stay with you.
And that's a particularly salient point at the moment, isn't it, Lydia? If you think of what you were just saying there about the social aspect, particularly for kids right now, there's no school for them. There's virtually no sport going on. It's tough times at the moment, and that'd be great when that all comes back, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it will, and I think people will probably appreciate it a bit more as well. I think, especially at cricket clubs, like we've all been involved in cricket clubs, and a lot of them are sort of the social heart of the community, and hopefully, when we get back to some sort of normality, people might realise that a bit more. We might see them spending a bit more time at their local cricket clubs and watching sport, because it's, if anything, we've realised how important it is just to keep the youngsters active.
Yeah.
Right, the next question came in from Sarah, and it refers to this brilliant initiative last year by Kent to dish out all these caps. I'll start with you, Kate, if I can, on this one. Sarah's question for you all is, what was it like to find out that you've been capped by Kent? And of course, this goes back right the way to the 1930s. A terrific idea. Several counties have done it, but terrific for you to be involved in this with Kent.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was a surprise, and because it was such a privilege to play for Kent, to get that recognition was absolutely wonderful for us, and to have a look at the players in the past that had played. I wasn't playing in the 1930s, but I think it's absolutely brilliant that all those people have had that recognition. We're chuffed, I think is one of the words. Yeah, very, very proud.
What about you, Deanna? Did you get called up for a cap?
Yeah, I was absolutely honoured. Obviously, I grew up playing cricket for Kent. I think we joined the under-11s at the age of 9, so it was an absolute honour. Kent cricket has a big place in my heart and a huge part of my childhood. And yeah, it's just an absolute privilege to be capped by Kent. So.
What happens in the football game now? Like when you were with Chelsea, what do they don't give out caps anymore, do they?
I've literally just received my England football under-23s cap the other day in the post. So you get caps for England, but you don't actually get caps for club football now.
Yeah, what do you get in club football? A signed shirt or something?
Yeah, something like that. Memories, I think.
What about you, Lids? Picking up the old cap.
Amazing. And I think it's like what Kate said, you think of all the players who you've played with as well, and now the women's game is in a great place. There's role models, they're accessible, but that was no different when I made my debut. I think Kate was our manager, Jill Hennessy was opening the bowling with Marsha Davis, Nick Wilkinson was wicket keeper, and I was a young person who was inspired by all of that, but it just wasn't on the TV, it wasn't on the radio. So I think for everyone involved, it's everyone's just so grateful to be recognised, I think.
And Alice, your cap must be one of the newer ones that's been dished out. Certainly the newer one on this panel.
Oh yeah, apparently I'm one of the babies.
You are.
You are on this panel.
But yeah, no, it was when I found out at one of the Kent trainings with a few of the other girls there, and as everyone says, it's something that you're really proud of, and it means a lot, and you kind of see the county caps happening in the men's game, and be a part of that and belong to that sort of group with the Kent team is something that I think means a lot to everyone that's received one, and to be a part of everyone in that group who's played for Kent and being a part of that sort of team, it just means a lot. I'm really proud.
I have some info here on the first 10 caps that were dished out. Carol Valentine, going right away back to the 1930s, cap 1. Mary Richards, Doris Coish went on England women's first test tour to Australia. Would have been on a boat, wouldn't it, Kate? That trip on a boat would have taken weeks to get there. We've got Barbara and Joan Blaker, caps 2 and 3, were twins and daughters of Dick Blaker, who played for Kent. Betty Archdale was cap number 4, who was the daughter of suffragette Helen Archdale and the goddaughter of Emmeline Pankhurst. Loved a bit of cricket, wasn't so keen on horse racing. Cecilia Robinson, cap 7, the first person born in Canterbury to play Test cricket, and is Kent women's oldest living player at the age of 96. Good evening to you, Cecilia, if you're watching. The first 10 caps dished out there. Brilliant initiative by the county last year to make sure everybody has been handed their cap quite rightly. Peter's question is for all of you. Perhaps we'll start with you, Alice, on this one. Why is it that Kent is the most successful county in women's cricket and have been able to win so many trophies?
That's a very good question. I think it's a lot goes with the like the attitude, the personalities, and like the sort of group that you kind of build. I know that when I first came in, so I was quite young, I had Liz, Charlotte, I think Laura came in a couple of years after, but that sort of group that you set and the tone that you set and how you go about things, how you're going to fight till the end, and that sort of attitude, I think people just say like a winning attitude, but to be a part of that and be brought into it and you kind of take it on as well. It's quite like a young person, I think was 15, 16 at the time. I think that was probably one of the biggest things I saw, and just how you're all in that sort of like fight and grit. And I know Tammy says they were quite like mongrels quite a lot. You've got that sort of attitude about you. You don't mind taking the good with the bad, but as long as you fight till the end. But yeah, probably the mongrels in us.
Even though you're 26 now and obviously still a baby on this panel, I'm just trying to think back. 16, because Kent had some of the very biggest names in the women's game then. Was that daunting at all? Was it inspirational? How did it make you feel?
Probably when I felt like I had this really surreal moment. I've never said this before, but I had this really surreal moment where I think so my first game I think was this 2020 in the middle of the week, I think at like Normandy and Surrey, and I'd had my back broken at the bottom, so I'd had it taped up. But I think a couple of years before, I think I'd had Charlotte sign it at the bottom. So I actually was opening and batting with Charlotte, but with my back taped up so she couldn't see. And I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, oh, wow, that just happened. But I think as it was happening, you just kind of go with it. And you don't really think about it. And being that young, you kind of just go along with it. And then I think when you look back on it, I obviously saw these people and I was like, wow, they're quite good. This is pretty cool. But also at the same time, you're just going along with it and having a fantastic time.
Lydia, how does it feel?
My secret's out.
It is out, yeah. I was just going to say to Lydia, how does it feel to have not signed Alice's back when she was 15?
Well, no, obviously didn't get asked for that.
You probably did. It was probably my other one.
Have you still got the bat, Al?
I think I do somewhere in my house. Yeah. I think I've got all my bats somewhere.
Yeah. Sorry, Stevie, what was the question? I can't remember.
Well, we're talking here about what made Kent so successful, the most successful county in women's cricket.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think what Al said, I think, I don't think it's ever been about individuals. I think the people who sort of inherit the places within the team, you learn the way from what's happened before. So, you know, when I made my debut, as I said, Kate was manager. We had some brilliant players in the group, and you learn a lot from them. I think we've also been lucky with some of the overseas players that we've had as well. I think the mongrel part that Alice said about that came from Emily Drum, who was New Zealand captain. And I think when you can play with different sorts of players from different countries, that always develops you. And, you know, we've had brilliant coaches, great captains. Yeah, I guess there's lots of ingredients that go into it, but ultimately you just have to have a group of players who know the team is bigger than them rather than the other way around.
And it's well known, isn't it, Deanna, that Lydia Greenway has one of the biggest wardrobes, cabinets going, because there's so many trophies during her career. And of course, for you, there were trophies in this sport, and then you went off and played for Chelsea and won things with them. we've already asked you about how that compares, but what about that special Kent team when you were around there?
I think it was filled with players that wanted to drive the women's game, and they always wanted to make the women's cricket the next level. And I think having so many internationals and players with such a big drive within women's cricket within one team in one county really helped with pushing the team and the squad to reach the next levels and what they were capable of, which I think is one of the main factors as well as what the other girls have said with regards to being the best county, or technically the best county in the country. I just think having so many players that are willing to drive women's cricket is just really important, and I think that's really helped with regards to getting trophies in the cabinet.
And Kate, for you, 32 years playing career, you might think that you're going to add a year or two onto that, perhaps. So, how many trophies?
They're not that.
How many trophies were there? How many trophies were there in the cabinet? It's such a long career.
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, I think that the modern era now, Kent have won a whole string of trophies, which we didn't really have. The county championship had started when I was playing, but Kent weren't quite so successful then. But we did always have a good junior development at Kent. There were a lot of good schools playing and children playing and stuff, and I think that's continued, and it's shown, I think, how much better a county can get by joining up with the authorities. The Kent East Cricket County have obviously done a fantastic job in the number of teams. I think there's under 11s and under 13s and 15s, and so there's been a fantastic development and strategy, for developing cricket, and that's paid off. And I think it's we've had many talented cricketers and been led by many talented cricketers and had the experience all the way through, and it's paid off. So my cabinet's not full, but well done to everyone else's cabinet.
So I'll ask you, actually, how many games roughly a season would you have played then for Kent, representing Kent in a season?
Yeah, well, when we first started, you used to play 3 or 4 county matches, 4 maybe, possibly 5. When the county tournament came along, you played 5 in a row of different teams then, and that really raised the level of the cricket. And then probably some friendlies as well, so maybe possibly 7 or 8. But yeah, but the county cricket itself, the tournament was only 5 other counties. Yeah, and then you played some others for friendlies. Yeah.
Fascinating. Thank you for that question, Peter. Lydia's got one here directed at you, Deanna, which is, how does women's professional football and the setup differ from women's county cricket? We tend to think, if you think of the men's game, we all know that there is a huge disparity between resources in county cricket and, let's say, Premier League football, even the smallest Premier League football club. So in the women's game, what's the difference in terms of setup between county cricket, professional football?
Okay, so when, obviously I don't know what the county cricket kind of setup is now, but when I was playing, obviously it wasn't professional. We would kind of train probably more in the winter and then just play the games in the summer, really. But with professional football, it is my job. I go in every day, we train every day, and our days is like a normal job. So we go in, we do training, we do gym, we have meetings, and then we play at the weekend. And that's kind of the biggest disparity for me from when I was playing cricket and playing football. When I got my Chelsea contract, obviously, at the time, cricket wasn't professional for county players, and it was professional for football players. So it was either take it and have a full-time job or carry on working in a school, which I was doing at the time when I was playing county cricket. So yeah.
And when you're at Chelsea, you are one of the biggest clubs, let's be honest, in the world. Well, I mean, the facilities then, I presume, are off the scale, are they?
Yeah, so we had our own building at the men's training ground, which we do at Reading. To be fair, there's not much difference between the Reading and Chelsea with regards to facilities and stuff. But you had your own pitches, you had your own canteen, You had your own gym. Yeah, so you pretty much get catered for. You don't have to really think about doing anything. You get given quite a lot, which is quite nice. Quite well looked after.
I understand it that the manager's office at the Chelsea training ground is now empty, by the way, if you fancy it. So that's a nice little vacancy for you there. Joe sent us a question in for you, Lydia Greenway. Are you looking forward to the challenge of the commentary and the 100 coming up, which we know is going to happen this summer? I'm hopefully going to be working in the 100. Hopefully going to be working one day soon, but hopefully going to be involved in the 100. Are you up on it all and all these new rules and things? Because I must admit, I'm not.
Yeah, well, I think because I was going to be one of the head coaches of, I was going to be coaching the Oval Invincibles. I'm not anymore, but obviously hoping to be commentating on those games. And I think when I sort of was in my coaching shoes, I was thinking of, okay, how different is it going to be? And, you know, there's lots of different theories out there, how you manage the 10 balls from one end. Do you split it into 2 lots of 5, or if a bowler's bowled 5 balls and, you know, they've bowled brilliantly, do you keep them on? I couldn't imagine fast bowlers would be too happy with that. I can't imagine.
I'm already shaking my head.
But yeah, I think for the cricket fans who are already cricket fans, it brings in different elements, I guess. For people who don't know cricket, it might hopefully generate a lot of interest as well. You know, what's all this about type thing. So, yeah, for me personally, I'm really looking forward to it. And you know, whether we're allowed some crowds or no crowds, I think it will just be a welcome bit of entertainment for everyone.
That's what we did have last year, was an abandoned 100, but we did manage to get the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy in. Alice, what was your verdict on that tournament?
I loved playing in it. I only got to play, I think, a handful because of going into bubbles and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's something that the women's game's been needing, that like little step up, that little transition of what the Kia Super League was doing and has done in the past, but also being able to do it for the 50 over side as well. And it was just like great playing with different players and just seeing how the tournament unfolded. And then on the back of it, you got Tash, who's managed to get a call up to the England squad off the back of it. So I think, I know it's like only a few months after it, but I think it's just a good sign of what the tournament can do and what it can do in the future for certain players that are on the edge. And as I just said, like, you've got Tash, who's performed consistently over however long, and she's managed to get that England call up. So I think it's like a wonderful thing to be a part of, and I think it'll only help improve the women's game.
I'll tell you what, though, I really miss the Kia Super League, don't you? I love that. I thought it was a terrific tournament. It was just really in a great place, and then we're off to something else.
Yeah, I think everyone was a little bit sad when that got scrapped. I mean, I won't miss hearing Shine Bright Like a Diamond every other song, and I'm sure. But other than that, no, I absolutely love the Super League, and I love being a part of it. But as the game moves on and evolves, you just kind of got to roll with it.
Hey, let me take you back to the mid-1960s. And then I say, right, in about 50 years' time, there or thereabouts, there's going to be this competition called 100, and it's going to be coloured clothes, and it's going to be the Oval, and it's going to be packed out, and it's going to be on TV all the time, and they're going to be playing, 100 balls? Surely, absolute dream world back then. This will never happen.
No, indeed. Yeah, it's changed beyond recognition for that, you know. And I would have been grabbing the ball for all of those 100 balls, so that wouldn't have been that wonderful. But I mean, I would have said, if that's going to be what happens, then at least let me live that long, because that would have been wonderful and is wonderful to watch. But it could only have been a dream then, that there would be such a thing as professional women cricketers or professional women rugby players or footballers or whatever. But you know, it's moved along in a fantastic way, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded that.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't. I mean, to be honest, a lot of this was inconceivable 25 years ago, wasn't it? The next question from Julie is aimed at you specifically, Kate, as well. Do you remember, says Julie, when a helicopter landed on the pitch in the middle of a county game at Cambridge and Princess Diana got out?
Well, I'd like to say that wasn't unusual, but it was. We had to get to the ground early because something was going to happen. We didn't quite know what. And then we were sort of all told to gather round, and then a helicopter came in at the distance, and we go, "Oh, who's that then?" So we waited till it landed, and out popped Princess Diana to go be whisked off somewhere. I mean, we'd asked her if she'd, come and bowl, but she wasn't interested. But we do remember that. In fact, I think Jill Hennessy's still got photographs of it.
Please tell me somebody said, "Do you mind? We're trying to have a game of cricket here. If you don't mind getting that helicopter." Please tell me someone said that.
Well, I can't, because it didn't actually land on the cricket pitch. I should be glad to tell you they had actually thought about that, and they landed behind the cricket pavilion. So that was fair enough. Yeah, we would have been cross.
Well, wherever you land your helicopter, do not land it behind the bowler's arm, because then there really will be trouble. I'd love it, actually. I'd love it if we were at Canterbury one day and the helicopter landed and the Duchess of Cambridge got out, Kate Middleton. I'd love that. Quite a piece of geek. Meghan Markle got out, but never mind. Amy's question here is, to all of you, have you got one moment from your entire career that sticks in your mind? It's a question we always get, and I know it's really difficult, but Lydia Greenway, you're the ace at answering questions like this. One particular moment from your career really is more memorable than any other?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, obviously winning the county championships have always been really memorable, but I do remember one game we won against Warwickshire in the T20 competition. I think, Al, you would have been playing. We were at Beckenham, and
this was the one I was about to say as well.
Oh, was it? Okay. So yeah, we were playing Warwickshire, and I think they scored loads of runs, and we came off the pitch. We were pretty demoralised, and we thought, okay, that's it. And it was a must-win game for us. And I think we were batting actually at the time, and we basically won the game against all odds. And I think for me that just summarised us as a team. We quite like being the underdogs, I think, and proving people wrong. And I think that game for me really stuck out. I don't know if that's the same reason for you, Al, but just the way that we won the game, I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, I think it was exactly the same thing. I think we were out there, and I think you just decided to crack out a few reverse sweeps, got them away, and then suddenly we're in with a shout. Yeah, and I think it was just the fact that we had no right to win it, and we kind of ended up somehow winning it, and that was kind of like summed us up. Winning when you don't really have like the right to win it, and putting yourself in the best position to do it, and always like hanging in there. But yeah, I think if I like scroll back through photos or anything like that, I think those are the ones that I've still got on my phone, and we've all got these massive grins on our faces, and I just remember how like happy we were singing in the changing rooms afterwards. But yeah, I think that's probably my moment as well.
Are they the more satisfying victories? You know, those ones when you're on top all the way through and you smash someone, the ones where no one's giving you a prayer and you pull it out of the fire. Are they the most pleasing of all? Yeah,
definitely. It's a different sort of like satisfaction, but when you're not meant to win and then you end up winning, it's definitely the best sort of feeling, I think.
Deanna, can you pull out a moment from when you were donning the Kent colours?
Yeah, I think obviously, as Lydia said, there's obviously the ones where you're winning trophies and you're winning leagues and visiting really nice places like Buckingham Palace and stuff. But for me, the one moment that always sticks in my head, because I actually have a photo of it on my wall downstairs in my parents' house, was taking my first wicket for Kent. It happened to be at Hove against Sussex, and it also happened to be Sarah Taylor. And at the time, obviously, she was this massive player, and I didn't quite realise how big of a wicket it was. I think I was only 14 at the time, and I was kind of like, and then Charlotte come put her arm around me and went, "Do you realise who you've just got out?" And I was just like, huh? But that moment, and my dad would get a photo of her with her arm around my shoulders after the wicket. So that moment will always stick as a really special moment for me, to have the England captain come to you and say, "Do you realise what you've just done?" Was really, really special.
Do you realise what you've just said? You were 14, and you dismissed Sarah Taylor, one of the greatest ever, no question about it. And you got her out when you were 14.
Yeah, I think it was only my third game for Kent or something ridiculous as well. And it was a special moment.
I won't ask you about the special moments in your football career because you're bound to mention winning things for Chelsea. But I will ask Kate. We've already had really the most memorable moment, I should think, of your career when Princess Diana landed in a helicopter. Anything else at all?
Well, there were many for Kent, but and I think we also did some remarkable pulling things out of the cap. I remember when Jill Hennessy went off in one tournament injured, and Liz Whelan stepped in, and I think it was against Surrey, and they had about 2 to win off the last over or something. And Marie Morley stuck her hand out for one catch. One of our subs caught something out over her head. It was kind of that kind of game, which was amazing. But we didn't win it. You know, we won the game, but I don't think it was a tournament. But personally, I suppose it was the test match I played when I batted with Enid Bakewell, one of the best ever women cricketers of all time. And she scored 112, and I got 16. And she kept saying to me, "Do not get out. You cannot get out because Kathy Mowatt's coming in next." So, and and she played for Middlesex and was not considered to be a batsman. So that's probably what the most very memorable moment. But there have been many for Kent.
All right, well, let's move on to the star question, shall we? Thank you for selecting it. It's been sent in by John. This will be the final question to wrap things up because we've been talking for so long. We're almost out of time here. John's question for all of you: who was the best player you ever played with at Kent? And of course, we'll continue to play with Alice Davidson-Richards. Tough one for you because you've got current colleagues.
How do I make everyone happy here?
Mention them all.
Yeah,
yes,
no, they're all the best. Well, I think if I probably think back to that first game, it was probably exactly who I opened the batting with. It was probably Charlotte Edwards was probably the best player in character, in being able to pick the ball and just glide it down to third man, control of the game, the shots that she could play. I mean, that's setting the bar very high because there have been some very good players that I've played with and still play with. But yeah, I think the one that's probably the best is Charlotte Edwards.
Lydia, you've played with some of the very best, the best. So how do you pick one out?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be Charlotte, I think. From playing with her when I made my Kent debut at 14, and then obviously throughout my England career as well, I sort of had a close-up view of how she operated. So I think that's probably an easier one for me to answer, just because I've played with her for such a long time and obviously learned a huge amount from her. So yeah, definitely the old girl Charlotte.
The old girl? The old girl?
Hopefully she won't be listening. She's out in Hampshire somewhere.
Yeah, she's gone west, gone wrong, hasn't she? Deanna, are you gonna give us a hat trick here of Charlotte Edwards'?
I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but for me it has to be Charlotte Edwards. She's one of the best players of all time, and just the way she does everything, she just made everything look so simple when she was playing, and she was always so calm and collected, and it was just incredible to play alongside her for the time that I did. So yeah, it has to be Charlotte Edwards.
Come on, Kate, you've got a different answer for us, I know. Come on.
I have. Yeah, I have. But I can't name one person. I mean, Lottie was a fantastic player, but she didn't start off at Kent, so there you go. But so there were too many. I could not mention. My sister Caroline could probably have been one of the best had she had the opportunities people have had today. But there were so many. You know, I started with somebody like Audrey Disbury. And they had about 7 county caps in that side then. You know, I played with a lot of very, very good cricketers. Jill Hennessy, Megan Lear, Angie Bainbridge. Oh, who are my friends? Oh yeah, Pauline Weeks. You know, I mean, all of them have been too good to say only one. And is great because that's Kent County cricket for you.
Absolutely. And what a terrific sentiment to end this Spitfire session on. Thank you very much to all of you for being on our panel. And thanks to John, who sent in the star question, who I think wins a little something from Shepherd Neame, our sponsors. Spitfire, of course, looking after us on the Spitfire sessions, and there'll be more to come during the winter period. So keep your eyes on the website, kentcricket.co.uk, for details, and on the social media channels as well. Let's say thank you very much to Kate Brown for being with us today. Where do we find you at the moment, Kate?
You find me in Sevenoaks.
Oh, lovely.
The district of Sevenoaks. Very nice. Lovely day as well. Yeah. Thank you. It's been lovely to be on. Day. Lovely to see you all as well. Yeah.
Been terrific to have you with us, Kate. Thank you very much indeed. And Deanna Cooper, any training today? Is it a day off after a match day the day before?
It is a day off today, back in tomorrow. So hopefully the snow's cleared so that we can get out on the grass again.
What time do you have to be in for training?
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock we have to be in.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and best wishes for the rest of the season with Reading. Lydia Greenway, thank you very much for being with us. You're not in Kent at the moment either, are you?
No, I'm in very snowy Leicestershire at the moment. So, yeah, hoping to get back down to Kent when we're allowed.
It'd be terrific to have you back. Be pleased to know your coffee shop on Beckenham High Street is still serving takeouts. Can't go in it, still serving takeouts. And people are talking to people loitering in Beckenham in cars. Alice Davidson-Richards, thank you very much. What plans have you got for training for the rest of this week?
I'm probably going to loiter a bit more, lurk around. But yeah, I'm at Beckenham today, tomorrow, day off Wednesday, Thursday, and then the Oval Friday.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. Sitting there in your car, freezing to death, I should think. It's been great to have you all with us. Thanks again for all the questions, and we'll see you very soon on another Spitfire session.